Hello traders, welcome to today's video. We're going to be focusing on Bitcoin today because obviously that's the one that's had the big move, and it was a really nice move down that we had overnight. One of those that's kind of frustrating that I wasn't able to trade it, but unfortunately, as we were talking about this morning in the Discord and on the trading room, sleep is mandatory, so we can't catch everything, and I'm sure it's very similar for you guys watching. Probably missed out on the actual meat of the move, and we're left to pick up the scraps here as we go into a new day and a new session. But yeah, an opportunity now to look at the bigger picture, because what this move has done, which is really nice, is taken us away from the really low time frame tight price action that we've had recently, and has started to expand things out into those higher time frames. So it's healthy, it's good. The only difficulty that I think a lot of traders have had is from being caught up in the low time frames, it can leave you exposed. But hopefully that's not the case for anybody watching this. So yeah, of course, we're going to be focusing on the Bitcoin price action, and we may touch upon other markets, but overall, yeah, it's been a very much a Bitcoin central move, and the rest of the markets haven't really done much different to this. So yeah, let's start off with the technical analysis here. Actually, before we start, today is US midterm elections, okay, so I'm not really expecting volatility. Today, it's probably the kind of thing where a lot of traders are sitting on the fence, but there is big anticipation for Thursday, so that is a day to be aware of, as we do have CPI coming up on Thursday, and the last day we had CPI data was that amazing Bitcoin dump that we had on the 13th of September that we traded live on a live stream, managing to catch that short right at the top there and taking that all the way down to eventually take out these lows. So yeah, that's going to be a big day, and a lot of eyes are going to be on that, but there's plenty to trade until we get to that point. So yeah, there's also the narrative of the whole FTX Binance thing, but I'm not gonna mention that. It's exchanges trying to gain market share before the next stage of the cycle. Simple as that. And okay, onto the technical analysis. So let's start off here with the monthly time frame, because this is important. Okay, so what we can potentially find ourselves in is a monthly range between this one, the previous month open, and that monthly level that we have not yet tested up at the highs. Now, price opened obviously just kind of in the middle of this range here, and it is normal. It is natural. You would at some stage expect to go down and test the previous month open at some stage on the new kind of the new candle there, if this is to form a range. So if we can get an open and close within here, it would lead to a fairly high probability that we're going to see a rotation back up towards the highs of the range there at 23,300. Now, take things onto the weekly time frame, okay, and that gives us a few more levels to be looking at. And when you do zoom in, you can start to see now that the levels above us, okay, we've got some untested levels above here, this weekly level up here, weekly level here, monthly level here, but that weekly and that monthly very much occupying the same space down at these lows, and this being the only one on the chart that hadn't actually been tested. So you see all of these weekly lows, everything's kind of been traded through at some stage, and this was the only one that had been left. You take things onto the daily time frame, okay, and that starts to build even more confluence here as you add the daily levels onto the chart. And what do we have is that daily level, once again, the only one that hasn't been back tested towards the lows. Okay, every single one of these, that daily level there being tested, this daily level here being tested, this daily level here being tested, and all of the ones previously, and then we are left with a cluster of support down within this 19,500 zone. Okay, add those together and you have that daily order block here. All right, and at the top of the daily order block is the weekly level, within the middle is that monthly, and down at the bottom is that daily. So very, 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 very simple stuff. You have at the highs of the range spread out levels, okay, and at the lows of the range a nice cluster that it's fairly likely at some stage that you are going to need to test as support before we go and deal with any of this above us. Now, what I was saying last week is I would have liked to have seen a move up to 21,600. We didn't quite get there, okay, and it's a little bit, again, one of those things. The move happened overnight during the Asia session, and the high was put in on a weekend. So yeah, yeah, not able to participate and able to catch the exact highs, but overall fine, it's okay. And yeah, we just can trade this as a level to level type of thing. So what the reason I was looking at that 21,600 was at the time when we were looking at this last week, it was the value area high of this whole range. But look at it now. Okay, add this range onto here, and this moved down over the weekend. So as we had that Saturday high that got put in, that perfectly came up, tapped into that range value area high, and then we've seen a strong rejection. Now what do we also have within this same zone is the POC that is accompanied by high volume. Okay, so you have an area of balance up at these highs. Okay, so an area of balance here, which takes you into this range, and as soon as you lose that range, you're dropping down into the next one, which is down here. All right, so through that low volume area, that low volume node, into the high volume node and coming in towards the POC. So we're still trading this as an overall larger range here. And finally, if you are trading this as an overall larger range, you can then start to look at market structure. Okay, let's just take off this. You got the daily order block, we know what's inside there. You can look at market structure, and you can then take a look at your fibs. So from a high that was put in back here in August to a low, okay, major high, major low, to another high, to another low. Okay, this high takes out this low. Then you come over here, this high here takes out this low, just. All right, and then at this point here, you get a change of character, a break of market structure. Okay, so that market structure shifts from a downtrend into potentially an uptrend. So this now is a key low to hold. All right, so if we just take off this and we put a little circle on here, this is the level that you just cannot be breaking at this stage. So a retrace is fine, it's okay. You have broken out of a downtrend, which could just be seen as an ABCD. Okay, so 1, 2, that kind of thing, or you have those three drives into the low, so 1 low, 2 low, 3 low, each one just losing momentum. You are seeing much less momentum to the downside on each of those pushes, and they're not really getting aggression below that point. Then you get the break of the change of character, the break of market structure to take out this high, and now we're coming into support. So if you add on your fibs into this, then where are we? We have your 618 here. And on top of that, not so relevant right now, but just interesting. Okay, if we do go from low to high, this is coming in with that golden pocket speed fan also. So there is the 618 lying within that daily order block, lying where there is a daily NPOC, and there is a lot of confluence that starts to stack up together at this stage. So right now, yeah, for myself, it is a pretty decent pullback after seeing a change of market structure, a pretty decent pullback that could very well serve as giving us a foundation of support to take things up towards the highs of this range. So that's really the higher timeframes. Nothing else in particular though that I want to be going over on this. There is of course some other stuff. If we do go on to the TPO here, we can see that NPOC just below us, and that leads me on to these lower time frames, which is kind of what we're seeing right now. So we are at support. Okay, let's just use that order block as support. But what we do have down there, single prints. Okay, so if you're going to zoom all the way out over to here, or wherever it was before, let's use the 4 hour as an example. Then you can see here the 4 hour lows, that point, that those single prints that were formed with this push up, same on the 30-minute time frame and any time frame in between, is there could be the potential for this just to drop a little bit further down. Okay, and also within that, we do have, zoom out, add on your, oh, it's not there, session volume profile, where is it? There. It's going to give it to me. There it is. So then we do have that daily MPOC just a little bit lower. So for myself, I'm not saying that the low is in. I'm not suggesting that that's likely to be the case. I am looking for a range to be put in here, and I do think at some stage we have a fairly good probability of taking out those lows, tapping into that MPOC, and then seeing if we can get a break of market structure or a change of character from that point onwards. So here you can see downtrend. Okay, nice and clear downtrend, each one of these highs taking out the low. Now for this to actually change structure here, you're going to have to take out that high. Very unlikely. So it does lead me to think that you're probably going to take these lows, and then these highs are what you can then break, and then you start to look to form support, and then you can start to climb back out of it. So that overall is my thought process of what we're going to be seeing on the lower time frames. Now, in addition to that, I don't think that that's likely to happen straight away. Okay, I think we've got local support that we can be looking at, and from this we have a clear selling climax that happened on very, very high volume, with then a spring below which took out those early longs. And this gives us a decent zone back within that order block to be looking at long positions. So if we are to get a move back into there, then we have these lows that we can be looking at. And we also have your golden pocket within there. So if we're looking at your low down here, up to the highs that we put in, you've got your golden pocket there. And that gives us a nice area to be looking for long positions. And back above us, we have the VWAP, the session VWAP coming in that is currently just above our local highs. So then if we are to take the local highs, I'm making a mess. There we go. There are the local highs. If we are to go and take that out, that would be an area for myself to look for short positions. So I'm looking for longs down here between that 19,560 to 19,500 area. I'm looking for short positions around about that 19,850 to, well, 19,840 to 19,880 area above us. So whatever we come into first, I would likely take the side of the trade that is, going to happen. So if we do move down, I'll be looking for longs. At that stage, realistically, you take things back into the point of control of the day. Okay, so you're just looking for a long back into here. And that seems most likely at this stage, isn't it, as we are getting this move down. So that kind of thing. Okay, and then see if it can come and take the highs. You'll take your profit there. If you can claim that, come through it, then at this stage you'd be looking for short positions down here to do the same thing back into that POC if it remains the same. So that realistically is the idea. If we are to reverse and we're going to come up here first, then just flip this whole little chart thing around and look for the short and then into the long. So that's, yeah, initially the idea. And then I think as we go on into the coming days, we're going to have today elections, tomorrow nothing much going on, Thursday that's when we can see some volatility. That might be the opportunity to come down, take out those single prints, the final little section that we do have down there, hit into that naked point of control, and then see if we can get a move from that. So that'll be Bitcoin. What we also have here is the 382. Okay, so the 382 is where we're currently from the move down that we had overnight from the Asia session. We are in that, we have bounced into the 382 and are seeing that rejection there, currently holding that daily point of control at the 23.6 level on here. So just a quick thing about the drop that we've had. So yesterday, you guys will know that I did take a long position from the 4-hour order block and from the London POC. So we'll go over here, we'll take this off, let's just take off all of this. All of this until we get back to the normal stuff. There we go. Okay, so the other support that I was looking at yesterday, and this was a nice intraday trade, was that 4-hour OB that once again had decent confluence as we came into it. All right, so golden pocket, order block, yeah, it's kind of enough. So that gave you a pretty decent bounce, but what happened, it immediately kind of got caught up with that OB that's above it, and it was struggling with the VWAP for much of the day. So I was able to get that trade, and at this stage it was a take profit as we came back up into these lows here. So as we came back up into this, as we hit into that previous support that became resistance, at that stage that's where I was taking profit. And you can see here the VWAP just holding price down until we got that quick break above, and then that initiated a further move to the downside. Now this, again, I wasn't able to get into a position at the highs, I was looking for at least some liquidity to be taken to the upside, because we had quite a substantial just grind, I guess, once again in those overnight hours going into London. I was looking for those to be taken out, and that's where I would have liked to have got a short position to, initiate the drop. But what we did end up getting was a move into that Asia session POC. Okay, you can see here the move into that POC, into the value area high of that particular session, and into that session VWAP close. So this being the Asia session, you go through London, you come up here, you take out the London highs, you come into your area of volume, you start to create divergences there. So you can see here with the CVD increasing and that lower high there on price, you can see there that you started to get the divergences, you started to get that absorption, and it just couldn't break through. We didn't even get that local, like just taking these local highs in order to initiate the drop. It just lost momentum and started to roll over. And by then, as soon as you lost that VWAP, it just accelerated down. We went for the SFP of the lows, but by that stage, you're losing that support. You don't really want to see these taken out again here, especially that late on in the day when the rest of the market is closed. So a difficult one to get short. If any of you did manage to catch a short from here, I think that's where the best opportunity was. And then, of course, if you were trading the Asia session, you had some good opportunities as we come back into the order block, back up into previous resistance. But realistically, a tough one. Nice, easy long to get into, a tough short, and then we're left with support here. So, yeah, that was the move that we've had. That's really the main thing that I can be seeing here on the chart. If you want to cover the rest of the market, we're not really seeing anything else, to be honest. SPX is very flat, kind of what you'd expect on a day like today, with a lot of traders sitting on their fence, just allowing the elections to do their own thing. Same situation with the DXY, not too much here. It did come into support. I am looking for a bounce, so let's see if we do get a situation where the DXY does bounce, and we'll see how Bitcoin can hold in that kind of scenario. And yeah, nothing else much is moving. We've obviously had a lot of carnage with the altcoins. There's a couple of opportunities there. Cardano, for example, taking out lows of the range, getting a half decent bounce from that. BitDAO token, really big sweep of the lows, but almost back to where it started again. Solana looks like it could potentially be putting in a high time frame spring. So where you do have very clear lows, we have had high volume taking out those lows and are managing to get back inside. So we could be seeing a spring here if it can start to break up and hold at this point. Then breaking through that anchored VWAP and through this trend line could see a nice move up, started to initiate on this. And then you got all the low caps, which are, yeah, it was a big move from Bitcoin, so that's likely to cause some carnage on the low caps as well. But yeah, overall, most stuff's just followed Bitcoin, to be honest. Yeah, nothing too substantial to report. And EGLD, again, you're taking out some lows, coming into some support, but nothing too major going on here. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Am I? Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. There's not much else to go over. I've been talking for long enough. We're almost at 20 minutes long on this video. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to be away for the next couple of days, so there won't be a live stream from myself for the rest of the week because I'll be away. But yeah, there may be some other stuff coming. So yeah, thank you everybody. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next video, probably next week. Cheers, bye.